A couple of years ago, my brother bought a large piece of land out in the middle of nowhere, about 30 miles or so from a cell phone reception. It's quiet. There's no light pollution, no paved roads, and not a lot of people around. Shortly after he bought the place, two of my brothers, the landowner and another, me, and our family spent a weekend camping on the land and doing our best to clean it up. People had used it as a dump. There were many downed trees, etc. On the second night we camped there, I woke up in the middle of the night to take a leak. As I was walking in the bushes in the dark, I realised I could faintly hear music. This didn't strike me as odd because I knew my brother had a radio in his camper. I finished up and went back to sleep with no further thought on the matter. The next morning at breakfast, I mentioned the radio and music. Several other people recalled waking in the night and hearing music, but no two people heard the same music. Finally, the brother who brought the radio woke up. I asked him about the music and he seemed a bit freaked out. He woke up sometime during the night and went outside to smoke. He heard the music as well and had assumed it was someone else. I should mention that he was the only one with a generator and a radio. It wasn't his radio we heard. It wasn't anyone else's either. I've been back several times, but I'm a bit freaked out by the place at night. I have fun while I'm there, and I'm always almost armed, and I don't sleep in the tent anymore. I sleep in my SUV with the doors locked. It may seem kinda dumb, but realising that everyone heard different music when they were there, no people, no functional radios, and no electricity, it's quite creepy.
I have a friend from my Boy Scout days, mostly Native American, and he's pretty chill. We would commonly go out to the middle of nowhere and hike around for weeks, building fires with sticks and cooking fish that we had to catch ourselves, and things like that. I remember one summer our trip took us to the BWWCA at the very top of Minnesota, which to those of you who don't know what it is, it's about 1 billion square miles of absolute desolation. Woods stretched as far as you could see, pocked with large lakes and islands. Our canoe trip had us rowing out to a smallish island and living there for a few days. We'd jump off of rocks into the water, and whittle and talk and laugh during the day. And at night, we would return to our tents that were pitched about 50 yards from the water in a clearing in the trees. One morning we all woke up and put on our swimsuits and walked down to the water to splash around and sort of get clean. While I was in the water, I saw my friend shivering alone outside of the water, sitting on a long log that looked like the remnants of a fallen tree or something. So I climbed up the bank and went to talk to him. He was pale and quiet, like he'd seen some sort of ghost. So I asked him if he was all right, and he recounted this story, which to me seems fairly related to skinwalker stories I've heard. Apparently, he'd been awoken in the middle of the night with the burning need to piss, so he slipped on some pants and shoes and exited his tent to find a nice tree to go on. While he was standing about 50 feet away from the tent at the edge of the woods, he heard the far-off call of a loon, something fairly common in northern Minnesota. Now, if you're not familiar with what a loon sounds like, I would recommend Googling it because it is the loneliest, most mournful sound in the world, and will scare the shit out of you on normal occasions. He began to get nervous for no good reason, and willed himself to piss faster. When the loon call came again, louder and closer, and again, louder and closer, until it seemed to be directly over his head. He finished, pulled his junk back inside his pants and buckled up, and was looking up in preparation to run all the way back to his tent, when he saw it. A naked man covered from head to toe with black tattoos, wearing a buffalo skull over his face like some sort of mask, crouching at head level on the low branch of a tree inches away from him. There was a long moment of silence where he just stared into the face of the mask, before the man sort of curved his back and let out a long, mournful loon cry. My friend tore off back towards the tent, panting and shivering and trying to keep from throwing up. and when he got to the zipped entrance, he chanced one last look towards the woods, and, of course, there was nothing there. He told me all this in a low voice without a hint of irony or any clue that it might just be a ghost story. He didn't mention the name Skinwalker, but he did tell me later that his grandfather, a traditional Navajo man, sat him down in the middle of his kitchen and blessed him for a full hour after he recounted the tale. It sounds fantastic, but the kid had no reason to lie to me. And if he was faking his signs of distress and terror throughout the rest of the trip whenever he heard a loon call, he was a damn fine actor. Take it, I guess, for what you will.